The atmosphere crackled with anticipation as Donald Trump, the ever-controversial Republican presidential hopeful, took the stage at his Las Vegas rally. The crowd's energy was palpable, a sea of red MAGA hats and waving flags creating a vibrant tapestry of political fervor. Trump, known for his unscripted style and ability to command attention, began his usual stump speech, his distinctive voice booming through the speakers. As Trump spoke, his eyes scanning the audience, something caught his attention. Amidst the cheering throng, a flash of color stood out, a miniature American flag, waving with enthusiastic vigor. But it wasn't just the flag that captured Trump's focus, it was the woman holding it. Her face beamed with excitement, her eyes fixed on the stage with unwavering admiration. Trump's cadence faltered for a moment, his train of thought derailing as he honed in on this unexpected sight. Then, with a mischievous glint in his eye, he did something that no one, not his campaign managers, not the Secret Service, and certainly not the audience, saw coming. He moved away from the podium, stepping towards the left side of the stage, and pointed directly at the woman, singling her out from the thousands gathered. "Come on up here," he said, his voice amplified by the microphone, gesturing to the woman with the miniature American flag. "Yeah, you. Come on up." The crowd's collective intake of breath was almost audible as the Hispanic woman made her way towards the stage. This was unprecedented, unscripted, and entirely unexpected. All eyes were fixed on this impromptu encounter between the controversial presidential candidate and the mystery woman from the crowd. As she approached the stage, Trump extended his hand to help her up. With a gentleness that seemed at odds with his public image, he surprised everyone by pulling her into a warm embrace. The crowd let out a collective gasp, then erupted into cheers. But Trump wasn't done yet. He leaned in and planted a kiss on top of the woman's head, a paternal, almost tender moment that left the audience stunned. The woman, visibly overwhelmed by the unexpected turn of events, was filled with joy. Her eyes shone with unshed tears, and her smile was radiant as she reveled in the unexpected attention. The small American flag she had been waving was now held close to her chest, a vivid symbol of the moment. She cheered and waved, jumping on stage as if she could hardly contain her excitement. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and the crowd laughed heartily at her unbridled delight. Trump, sensing the uniqueness of the moment, felt compelled to explain that this wasn't a scripted event. "Folks, you won't believe this," he began, his voice taking on a tone of conspiratorial excitement. The audience leaned in, hanging on his every word. "I swear to you, I think she is totally beautiful and great. I've never met her before. I swear." As the initial shock wore off, the tension that had gripped the room just moments ago evaporated like morning mist. In its place, a palpable sense of curiosity settled over the crowd. Supporters in the audience exchanged looks of pleasant surprise. Even those who had come to the rally with doubts found themselves moved by the genuine warmth of the encounter. The woman's hand clutched a glossy object, a magazine. It was the latest issue of People, featuring Trump and his family on the cover. Trump, his interest piqued, asked to see it. "May I see that?" he inquired, his tone surprisingly gentle. The woman quickly agreed, carefully handing over the magazine as if it were a precious artifact. Trump held it up for the audience to see, his face suddenly shifting to an overly dramatic look of distress. "Folks, take a look at this," he boomed, his voice carrying a note of theatrical indignation. "Now, I love the people at People magazine. They're good people, great people. But this picture..." He paused for effect, his finger jabbing at his own image on the cover. On the large screens flanking the stage, cameras zoomed in on the magazine cover, revealing a family portrait of the Trumps. Donald Trump's image stood out, his nose appearing slightly larger and more prominent than usual. "Do you see what they did to my nose?" he continued, his voice a mix of amusement and mock outrage. "It's like Pinocchio decided to run for president." The crowd burst into laughter, the previous tension having completely vanished. Trump, encouraged by the response, warmed to his impromptu comedy routine. He held the magazine up higher, ensuring everyone could see it clearly on the big screens. "But Melania looked good, Barron looked good. I look like hell," he said, his voice a mix of amusement and self-deprecation. The crowd chuckled, hanging on his every word. I have a feeling maybe they picked the picture. They might have picked it, I don't know. He paused for dramatic effect, his eyes scanning the audience. The laughter grew, with some supporters shouting encouragement. But that's okay because they meant well, Trump continued, his tone softening slightly. I think they wanted to make me look like Cary Grant. Do we remember Cary Grant? A murmur of recognition rippled through the older members of the audience, while younger attendees looked slightly puzzled. And I've always wanted to look like Cary Grant, Trump added with a self-deprecating shrug. But anyway, here's a fun fact. I think I'm on 14 magazine covers. I'm on more covers than any supermodel in history. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? The crowd erupted in laughter again, clearly entertained by Trump's boastful yet self-deprecating performance. His ability to poke fun at himself seemed to endear him even more to his supporters, creating a sense of camaraderie in the arena. As the laughter subsided, Trump's expression softened. He looked at the woman who had handed him the magazine, his eyes twinkling with mischief. You tell me, he said, gesturing to his face. How's my nose? The crowd held its breath, waiting for the response. Trump leaned in slightly, a playful smirk on his face. Without missing a beat, the woman boldly and excitedly yelled into the microphone, "It's beautiful and perfect." The arena erupted in cheers and laughter. Trump's face lit up with a broad grin, clearly delighted by the woman's enthusiastic response. He gave her a thumbs up, basking in the moment. With a flourish, he autographed the cover. As he handed the freshly autographed magazine back, the woman's eyes sparkled with unbridled joy. She clutched the magazine to her chest, her smile beaming. There you go, he said warmly. Now you've got a one-of-a-kind Trump original. Who knows? Maybe that nose will be worth something someday. Without hesitation, she threw her arms around the presidential candidate, enveloping him in an enthusiastic embrace. The crowd gasped, then cheered at this display of affection. Breaking away from the embrace, the woman held the magazine high above her head, waving it triumphantly to the crowd. The audience responded with thunderous applause, many standing and waving their own flags and signs in solidarity. Trump, still caught up in the moment's unexpected warmth, placed a hand on the woman's shoulder. His expression softened, a rare glimpse of genuine emotion breaking through his usual bravado. He leaned toward the microphone, his voice carrying a note of curiosity and invitation. You know what? Trump said, his tone surprisingly gentle. I think we'd all like to hear from you. He turned to the woman, whose eyes widened in a mix of excitement and nervousness. Would you like to say something to everyone here? The woman, still clutching her prized magazine, looked out at the sea of faces. For a moment, she seemed overwhelmed by the attention, her earlier confidence wavering under the weight of thousands of expectant gazes. Trump, sensing her hesitation, gave her an encouraging nod. Go ahead, he said, his voice uncharacteristically soft. Tell us why you're here today. The woman took a deep breath, straightening her shoulders. She stepped closer to the microphone, her hands trembling slightly as she adjusted it to her height. Then, with clarity, the woman's voice rang out through the speakers. I'm Hispanic, and I vote for Mr. Trump. We are for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump. Her voice began to crescendo, carrying an emotional weight as she reached the end of her short speech. We love you. We love you all the way to the White House. The crowd erupted into thunderous applause, many rising to their feet. The woman's declaration, especially coming from a Hispanic supporter, seemed to electrify the arena. Trump's face broke into a wide smile, clearly pleased with this unexpected endorsement. As the woman stepped back, Trump moved forward to the podium. The expression on his face was one of genuine surprise and gratitude. Seemingly energized by the moment, he kept his arm around the woman's shoulders. Isn't she great, folks? He boomed into the microphone, his voice filled with enthusiasm. The audience responded with thunderous applause. Caught up in the emotion of the moment, Trump couldn't contain his delight. His trademark grin spread across his face, wider than ever before. He raised his arms in a triumphant gesture, clearly basking in this unexpected endorsement. For a candidate often criticized for his stance on immigration and his relationship with minority communities, this moment was political gold. Trump, seizing the moment, placed his hand on the woman's shoulder and turned to the crowd. "You see, folks? They love me. The Hispanic community loves Trump," he boomed into the microphone, his voice barely audible over the continued cheering. This was no longer just an interesting campaign anecdote, it had the potential to reshape the narrative around Trump's appeal to minority voters. Cameras zoomed in on the woman's face, capturing her genuine smile and the tears of joy that had begun to form in her eyes. The crowd's reaction was a mix of triumph and vindication. Trump supporters in the audience exchanged knowing looks, as if to say, "See? We told you so." Even those who had come to the rally with skepticism found themselves caught up in the emotional momentum of the moment. As the cheers began to subside, Trump guided the woman to the front of the stage. Together, they waved to the crowd, presenting a powerful visual, the controversial candidate and a Hispanic supporter united in an unexpected moment of political harmony. As the thunderous applause began to wane, Trump gently placed his hands on the woman's back, guiding her towards the edge of the stage. The energy in the arena was still electric, the crowd buzzing with excitement from the unexpected turn of events. Trump, perhaps caught up in the woman's warmth, leaned in to give her a light hug. As he pulled back, he planted a quick, chaste kiss on her cheek, a common gesture of farewell in many cultures. What had started as a typical campaign rally had transformed into something entirely unexpected, a moment of genuine connection, cultural exchange, and political theater rolled into one. In the age of viral videos and instant social media sharing, it was clear that this moment would live on far beyond the confines of the rally. Within minutes, clips of the warm exchange were spreading like wildfire across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Memes were being created in real time, with captions ranging from humorous to heartfelt. For Trump's campaign team watching from the sidelines, the implications were immediately apparent. This unscripted moment had the potential to reshape narratives, challenge preconceptions, and possibly bridge some of the divides that had characterized Trump's relationship with the Hispanic community. As the rally resumed its planned course, there was a palpable shift in energy. The crowd was more energized, more unified. For better or worse, this moment would be remembered as a turning point, a spontaneous interaction that had the potential to reshape the conversation around Trump's candidacy and his relationship with minority communities. When the rally finally came to an end, the sea of red MAGA hats began to disperse, the air still buzzing with excitement. Amidst the crowd, a sharp-eyed reporter from a local news station spotted the woman who had become the unexpected star of the evening. Her face was flushed with excitement, and she clutched her signed magazine to her chest like a precious artifact. The reporter, sensing a story, made her way through the throng of people. "Excuse me," she called out, her press badge swinging as she navigated the crowd. "Would you mind answering a few questions?" The woman turned, her eyes widening in surprise. For a moment, she seemed unsure, but then a smile spread across her face. "Of course," she said, her voice still hoarse from her earlier proclamations. The reporter quickly set up her cameraman, adjusting the lighting to capture the impromptu interview. "How did it feel to be brought on stage by the president?" the reporter asked. The woman's eyes sparkled as she replied, "It was one of the best days of my life in America." Her voice cracked slightly with emotion. "When I came to this country, I never imagined I'd be standing on a stage with the President of the United States. It's the American dream, you know?" She laughed, a sound of pure joy that seemed to infect those around her. The reporter, sensing a powerful narrative unfolding, pressed on. "Do you have anything you'd like to say to other Trump supporters like yourself?" The woman's expression turned serious, her posture straightening as if she suddenly remembered the weight of her words. "To all my Hispanic brothers and sisters out there," she began, her accent becoming more pronounced as her emotions rose, "I want you to know why I'm standing here today, why I believe in Donald Trump." As she spoke, a small crowd began to form around her, drawn by the passion in her voice. Some nodded in agreement, others listened intently, their own stories reflected in her words. "When my family came here, we had nothing but dreams and the clothes on our backs," she continued. "We worked hard, day and night, because we believed in the promise of America. And you know what? That promise came true for us. But it didn't happen by magic. It happened because this country gives opportunities to those who work hard and play by the rules." Her voice grew stronger, more confident. Donald Trump understands that. He's a businessman. He knows the value of hard work. He wants to make sure that the opportunities my family had are still there for future generations of immigrants who come here legally, ready to contribute to this great nation. Sensing the power of the moment, the woman continued, "We're not victims. We are victors. We don't want handouts, we want opportunities. And that's what Trump is offering us, a chance to prove ourselves, to build our own American dream." The crowd around her began to cheer, their voices rising in a chorus of agreement. The woman, emboldened by their support, raised her voice for her final declaration. "He's fighting for us, for all of us, and that's why we will fight for him." The cheers erupted into a roar, with people clapping and chanting, "Trump! Trump! Trump!" The reporter, realizing she had captured lightning in a bottle, signaled her cameraman to keep rolling. As the crowd began to disperse, their energy still electric, the woman found herself surrounded by well-wishers and fellow supporters, all eager to share their own stories and thank her for her bravery. In the span of a few hours, she had gone from an anonymous attendee to a voice that would echo far beyond the walls of the arena, potentially reshaping the narrative of the entire campaign. This unexpected moment at Trump's rally showcased the power of spontaneous human connection. It demonstrated how a single interaction could potentially shift the dynamics of a political campaign, especially one as contentious and closely watched as Trump's. The incident quickly became a focal point for political commentators and analysts. Some saw it as a genuine moment of connection between Trump and the Hispanic community, potentially helping to soften his image and broaden his appeal. Others viewed it more skeptically, questioning whether one emotional moment could truly offset the controversial statements and policies that had alienated many Hispanic voters. Social media platforms were abuzz with discussions about the encounter. Hashtags related to the event trended for hours, with people sharing clips of the moment and offering their interpretations. Supporters of Trump celebrated it as proof of his broad appeal, while critics suggested it was a carefully orchestrated publicity stunt. Political strategists from both sides of the aisle weighed in on the potential implications. Some argued that this could be a turning point for Trump's campaign, helping to counter the narrative that he was anti-immigrant or racist. Others cautioned against reading too much into a single event, pointing out that broader policy positions and long-term outreach efforts would ultimately be more important in winning over Hispanic voters. The woman herself became an overnight sensation. Requests for interviews poured in from news outlets across the country, all eager to hear more about her story and her support for Trump. She found herself thrust into the spotlight, a position she had never expected to be in when she woke up that morning. In the days that followed, more details about her background emerged. She had immigrated to the United States legally from Colombia over a decade ago, working her way up from entry-level jobs to owning her own small business. Her story of hard work and perseverance resonated with many, regardless of their political affiliations. Trump's campaign was quick to capitalize on the moment. They released a series of ads featuring clips from the rally, highlighting the woman's enthusiastic endorsement and Trump's warm interaction with her. The campaign also arranged for her to speak at several smaller events, sharing her story and explaining why she believed Trump was the best choice for the Hispanic community. Critics, however, pointed out that one positive interaction didn't negate Trump's previous controversial statements about immigrants or his hardline policies on immigration. They argued that this moment, while heartwarming, shouldn't overshadow the broader issues at stake in the election. As the days turned into weeks, the initial fervor around the event began to subside, but its impact lingered. Political analysts noted a slight uptick in Trump's polling numbers among Hispanic voters, though it was difficult to attribute this solely to the rally incident. The woman continued to make appearances at Trump events, becoming something of a minor celebrity within the campaign circuit. She used her newfound platform to speak about her experiences as an immigrant and why she believed in Trump's vision for America. Meanwhile, Trump's opponents scrambled to counter the narrative that had emerged from the rally. They redoubled their efforts to reach out to Hispanic voters, highlighting their own policies and emphasizing the importance of comprehensive immigration reform. As the election drew nearer, the Las Vegas rally moment remained a topic of discussion, often cited as an example of the unpredictable nature of political campaigns. It served as a reminder of how a single, unscripted moment could potentially shift the dynamics of a race. In the end, the true impact of this viral moment would only be fully understood after the votes were counted. But regardless of the election outcome, it had undeniably added a new dimension to the ongoing national conversation about immigration, identity, and what it means to be American. The incident also sparked broader discussions about representation and diversity within political campaigns. Many wondered whether this moment would lead to more substantive outreach efforts to minority communities, or if it would remain an isolated incident of feel-good politics. As the election season progressed, political scientists and sociologists began studying the Las Vegas rally as a case study in modern political communication. They examined how a spontaneous human moment could cut through the noise of carefully crafted messaging and resonate with voters on an emotional level. For the woman at the center of it all, life would never be quite the same. She had become a symbol, celebrated by some, criticized by others, of the complex relationship between the Republican Party and Hispanic voters. Her story highlighted the diversity of opinions within the Hispanic community and challenged simplistic narratives about ethnic voting blocs. In the years to come, this moment would be remembered as one of the defining incidents of the campaign. It would be analyzed in political science classes, dissected in campaign strategy sessions, and referenced in countless articles and books about the election. But beyond its political implications, the Las Vegas rally served as a powerful reminder of the human element in politics. In an era of carefully stage-managed events and scripted talking points, it showed how an unexpected connection between a candidate and a supporter could capture the public's imagination and potentially influence the course of a campaign. As the dust settled and the election results came in, political analysts would continue to debate the true impact of this viral moment. Had it really swayed significant numbers of Hispanic voters? Or was it simply a fleeting feel-good story in a long and contentious campaign? Regardless of its ultimate electoral impact, the Las Vegas rally incident had undeniably left its mark on the political landscape. It had sparked important conversations about immigration, representation, and the power of personal narratives in shaping public opinion. For Donald Trump, it represented a rare moment of positive press coverage on an issue that had often been a source of controversy for his campaign. For his supporters, it was vindication, proof that their candidate could connect with voters from all backgrounds. For his critics, it was a moment that required them to recalibrate their arguments and strategies. And for the woman at the center of it all, it was a life-changing experience, a moment when her personal story became intertwined with the larger narrative of American politics. Her journey from anonymous rally attendee to nationally recognized figure encapsulated the unpredictable nature of modern political campaigns and the power of individual voices to shape the national conversation. As the election cycle wound down and attention began to shift to the challenges facing the next administration, the Las Vegas rally moment would be remembered as a vivid illustration of the complex, often surprising dynamics of American democracy. It served as a reminder that in politics, as in life, it's often the unscripted moments that leave the most lasting impressions. In the final analysis, this viral video and the events it captured would be seen as more than just a quirky campaign anecdote. It would be viewed as a snapshot of a nation grappling with questions of identity, belonging, and the ever-evolving nature of the American dream. It highlighted the power of personal stories to cut through political rhetoric and connect with voters on a human level. The incident also underscored the increasing importance of authenticity in political campaigns. In an age of carefully crafted images and messaging, voters seemed to respond to moments of genuine human connection. This spontaneous interaction between Trump and a supporter had resonated in a way that no amount of polished advertising or rehearsed speeches could match. As future campaigns studied and attempted to recreate the magic of this moment, they would be reminded of the delicate balance between strategy and spontaneity in politics. The Las Vegas rally had shown that while meticulous planning is crucial, it's often the unplanned moments that can define a campaign and capture the public's imagination. In the end, this viral video and the story behind it would be remembered as a unique chapter in American political history. It had challenged assumptions, sparked debates, and offered a glimpse into the complex interplay of identity, politics, and personal narrative that shapes the American electoral process. As the nation moved forward, the lessons learned from this unexpected moment would continue to influence political strategies, media coverage, and public discourse. It had reminded everyone involved in the political process, candidates, strategists, journalists, and voters alike, of the power of authentic human connections and the enduring appeal of the American dream. The story of the Hispanic woman who interrupted Trump's rally would be told and retold, analyzed and debated for years to come. It would serve as a testament to the unpredictable nature of politics and the enduring power of individual voices to shape the national conversation. In a campaign full of twists and turns, it would be remembered as one of the most surprising and impactful moments, a reminder that in the grand theater of American politics, sometimes the most powerful scenes are the ones no one saw coming.